Greyhound and Ground Zero, it was always sort of like, okay, Greyhound have lost a couple of players early in the round, and then bam, all of a sudden, 3 players go down for Ground Zero 30 seconds later. You're like, where did that even happen? How did that even happen?
That is definitely the X factor for Greyhound. Every single one of these players is very, very intellectual and can sort of find their way to be able to make the difference and find gaps in the defense and open up the round. Avant just going for this short push with 3 players. And looks like it's going to be a quick one into B here. Soju, can he get himself a headshot before they get into the bomb side?
Well, APAC has.
Yeah, he's picked off Dexter at top mid.
Yeah, but Soju so far having no luck, and that's really where the problems are going to arise for Avant. They're making a lot of noise here in the upper tunnels. Bomb plant is going down for Greyhound. Great protection there from Urcast. He's actually going to double down. That's 2 kills for him. A fantastic start to the exchange for Greyhound. Leaves Mizu left on his own, but not for too long.
I don't think Soju really needed to commit to that fight from window, particularly after they got the man advantage and Mizu had the 2 flashes. That could have been a scenario where if Soju just stays alive in towards the windows, Mizu has time to rotate and flash for those players who are actually coming in from tunnels like he was doing towards the end there for APAC. That could have been a round from Avant. But unfortunately, those are the kind of things that you'll see when a team has a lot less reps on a map. Here comes the long control for Greyhound. It looks like Avant are wanting to fight this.
Yeah, they certainly are. Urcast, a very long spray down for him. He doesn't actually connect much onto Mizu at all, who will punish him for that. But there's still more players available for Greyhound. Another 1-for-1. Not ideal. Everyone seems to want a piece of this pie for Greyhound. I'm not sure whether they really should be continuing this or whether they should cut their losses. Still a 2-man setup here, and APAC is just going to smash 2 and 3. I don't know about that one from Greyhound.
Yeah, just trying to force things a little bit too hard there, unfortunately. And I would imagine just to see a force coming out of Greyhound with the money that they have, they will indeed go for it. Interested to see if Siko's going to buy up as well. He could get himself a scout, but it looks like he's more interested in saving for the AWP later on. There's a nice tag on the cross from Urcast. Doesn't make it a second. Malta's got a scout as well. So enough scouts tags do come out for these players. It makes these deaglers a lot more dangerous as well in terms of hitting those body shots. And Soju is just going to punish Dexter, getting a little bit aggressive in uppers tunnels there. All right.
Happy days for Urcast at least.
Happy days for Soju because he's found himself the bomb.
And he's going to find himself a Sicko as well. Just the lone player going to retrieve the bomb. And that really puts a spanner in the works here for Greyhound. Urcast is going to just lurk his way out middle. If he was able to get anything done from there, it would have been an absolute miracle. Walking through the smoke with a scout.
Malta's just going to try and recover the bomb here. Dick Stacey's found himself behind a lot of CTs, but unfortunately that's the only real talking point here for Greyhound in this round.
Oh. I was going to say, Malta's trying to put in a good word for himself as that secondary AWP, or if he could have got something done with the scout there. But a very solid round from Avant. 4 guns alive.
Pretty easy repelling of the force buy there. And APAC's off to a pretty nice start for himself.
Can't complain about that at all.
No, that would be one of the danger men that Greyhound will have to look out for. However, you really have to point to the fact that it's only a matter of time till they get their gun rounds rolling a little bit more.
Maybe it'll be enough of an advantage that Avant can close it out here on Dust2. It's obviously quite a ways away, but they're making all the right moves right now. You can see they seem to have a good read on what Greyhound is trying to do. Everything that Greyhound throws at Avant, it's sort of thrown back with equal and of a greater reaction even.
So this is the dream start for Avant, really. Look at their money. Economy is so important on a map like Dust2, where you need money for those double AWPs, you need money for all the utility to be able to stop the rushes towards long and counter flash for your teammates, to be able to stop those pushes into tunnel, to be able to throw the utility late round on towards that catwalk. Greyhound going to go for this long control again, and Avant will fight it. However, they have been completely shut out with the utility, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Avant just going back for this catwalk control, but they are going to just recommit. I don't know about this one.
Yeah, Elusive spraying and praying really through the smoke at that point, and that may be just a little lapse in concentration that is going to come back to bite Avant. It's the 4v2 now.
their decision to fight that in the late round there was just a little bit too disorganized. You need your pre-planned protocols if you want to be able to fight that long control once the Ts do actually get out that long doors, once they've been able to get that much space. You need some really good flashbangs and some well-timed peaks off the back of that to make that work, and it just looked a little bit too hesitant for Avant. Would have really liked to see them just fall back and go for the cat control, but unfortunately they do make the incorrect decision to fight that, and Greyhound will punish them for it.
Looks like Avant, at the very least, will be able to keep these couple of guns through. It's going to help their economy quite significantly. Elusive will reap the rewards, more likely than not. Or buy is possible for Avant in the next round as well. But that's the first gun round, really, where we've seen Greyhound have a bit more success. So is that going to open the floodgates?
Not just yet, because, like you said, Avant do still have plenty of money to be able to continue to buy. Greyhound, 3 guns alive, is going to start to build up their economy. Obviously, the AWP is there for Sicko and is there for APAC also. So, nice couple of gun rounds to start this half off. No real damage on the cross. Greyhound just very passive approach this time around. They haven't gone very early for that long control. Instead, they're probably going to go towards catwalk in this round in particular, in the mid-round. And Avant have been allowed to take control of long, but Sicko punishes Soju there, trying to get out of position, and that's a bit of an unnecessary peak to be taking without a smoke up in uppers. You don't want to give Greyhound any extra advantages.
Well, that is certainly an extra advantage. Whether or not Greyhound is going to be able to make use of it, we shall see. Sicko peeking over the smoke.
He is, and they have, on the side of Greyhound, put pressure on middle and taking catwalk, so a lot of talking points here for Greyhound. They also have the players set up to be able to punish Avant if they push the extremities towards long or B. Going to be a pretty hard one for Avant to win, but those are 2 duels that are great for Avant to get.
Trying to aggress in toward the B bomb site, run straight into Raz. Dick Stacey, though, I mean, there's always that push and pull that we talk about. So Avant have pushed and managed to take control back of middle and of B. But the pull is there for Greyhound as they take control of A.
Yep.
It's not going to be quite enough, though. This bomb has a big rotate. It's all on Dick Stacey to hold down the fort, and he's doing a good job of that so far.
Need the bomb to get across on Sicko.
He should be able to. Fairly comfortably. Dick Stacey taking another peek. Needs to be aware of a player coming out from long. The flashbang will give away the position. And that is going to be Mizu that'll go down so clean and crisp from Dick Stacey. And that really frees up Sicko to just charge into the bomb site, which is exactly what he needed to do because there wasn't much time left. Now it's on to Sicko in the 1v1. Well, Dick Stacey's upheld his end of the bargain and Sicko will do the same.
That's going to put Avant in a bit of a weird money situation. Probably the singular eco, I'd imagine, coming out for them. Particularly with Mizu, APAC, and Elusive doing so poorly on the money. But Soju's going to buy. They are actually just going to buy up into this one. I don't know. I would have liked to see them take a bit more of a passive approach, personally, and just save for that double AWP in the utility going forward. But they feel like they've done a lot of damage with that one player surviving for Greyhound, which is probably why they've decided to make that decision. They want to try and break Greyhound's money. They know that no one has any real loss bonus going into this one, so if they do come away with this round, it could be multiple rounds for them in the future, heading into the rest of this CT half.
Oh, big damage being done onto Mizu. Looks like he'll get out okay. Not a whole lot of map control secured just yet for Greyhound. They're working their way in through middle.
They can't really be sure what kind of money situation Avant's in at the moment. Again, APAC, that's the second time he's been able to find a player just slipping towards mid.
Aircast the second time as well, by the way. Same player.
Fortunately, does overcommit there in the 5-on-4, and Sicko does punish him for it. And with Dexter creeping out B, with no one here really ready to punish him, and so much catwalk control for Greyhound. This is looking terrible for Avant.
Yeah, Raz definitely the difference in the last round, sitting in the cutout, but not there this time, and that has given the freedom over to Dexter. It's a great shot, though, and Mizu gets the timing onto Malta. It's all falling apart for Greyhound. How has this happened? Sicko's dead as well. Avant just timing Greyhound, like, in 4 or 5 instances there.
So their decision to buy up does work out beautifully for them. They do consolidate that 4-on-4, I think it was, or 4-on-3, and that's going to reset Greyhound's economy. It's going to put Malta and Sicko on a double eco. which should allow Avant to get up to that 5 or 6 round score and be able to re-secure this control of the economy that they had so much of earlier.
Yeah, I mean, Greyhound has purchased in here a little bit, so they want to try and get something out of the round. But again, it's APAC that has opened the account for Avant. He's been super solid with the AWP here on Dust2, finding the openers. When you're playing 4v5 for the whole map, that's really going to make life difficult for Greyhound. They have managed to work their way out middle, but now the utility comes in from Avant, and Greyhound's going to be forced back.
They're going to go up towards this catwalk area, but APOC just playing retake over towards the car. And Elusive with the push into long. That's a lot of information for Avant. As soon as Greyhound do take some control of this A bomb site and put some pressure on APOC, you can imagine that Avant will start to rotate and take this mid control back. That's a nice shot to start things off, and he's going to have plenty of opportunities to hit more.
Oh, he's definitely hitting him. That one perhaps a little over-eager for APOC, but nonetheless, he's done the damage that was needed. Bomb will go down for Sicko, and what more damage can he do? Not a lot. Still, could have been worse for Greyhound, I suppose, but Avant is chugging along nicely here on Dust2, which is not what we expected at all.
No, but this has been a little bit of an unconventional sort of game so far, you really do have to say, with the way that things went after that first gun round and with the way some of these 4-on-4s and just in general the way that sort of Greyhound's approaching this map. Very split up approach. It really is just individuals sort of pushing. Dexter's going out towards that B bomb site by himself half the time. Urkar's just trying to work out middle. Malta's often holding onto that long A area. There's no real cohesiveness from Greyhound so far on this T side. They really aren't grouping up very much, and that's allowing Avant to find a lot of openings that, you know, normally against other teams on Dust2 you wouldn't really be able to find.
Oof. APOC does get punished this time. No kill though. So with that AWP, he's still going to be dangerous, even with only the 12 HP that he has. Utility usage has been pretty on point for Avant as well on this CT side, I will say. So the grenade again, having an impact. Mizu sets himself up in pit, knows that there's players headed in his direction, gives away the position though. And now Greyhound will look to isolate him. They found APOC already. Mizu needs to step up here, but doesn't quite. It's Elusive on the site that is getting the damage done. Just sets himself as the Deagle gets flicked out. Absolutely smacks away with those remaining Greyhound players. Sicko, though, does have an AWP in his hand, so he could make this one a little deadly for Avant if push comes to shove.
There you go. Soju's not going to over-aggress that one. Could have been an opportunity there for Sicko.
He's got the bomb now, so he's going to have to start making some inroads toward the bomb site. Elusive doesn't spot Sicko. And that'll give the timing there for Soju to eventually walk his way out from bedroom. 6-3. Avant continue the hype train rolling.
So now finally Greyhound's got enough cash to be saved up after being forced into that weird double eco territory. So Avant, you really do have to say that that decision to buy heavily paid off for them. AWP onto Sicko, again just nice and spread out stuff for Greyhound. They will throw that smoke over towards Xbox. And could potentially see one of these players taking control of Catwalk there. They do wish to do so. It's a group up towards tunnels, so this could potentially be Greyhound just setting up nice and early for some kind of a mid to B play later on in the round.
I haven't used a whole lot of utility just yet.
They're going to put a bit of pressure on Catwalk first, though. They really want to force these CTs off the angle, but Raz is able to pick off Sicko there. Sitting at the back of Plat with that AWP. The money nice and solid for Avant is going to give them enough to get those double orbs and all the utility. And here comes the 4-on-5. They're going to go for the B split.
Well, they need a really clean entry into the B site here. It's a good flashbang onto Soju. As the players work their way in from APAC and in from middle. Raz is doing the damage with the AWP. Just gets smashed there by Dexter, who himself has an AWP, interestingly enough. 3v2 though, and the entry wasn't really clean enough for Greyhound to give you a huge amount of confidence. Dexter getting the bomb down, covered off by Urkas. The bomb plant has been achieved, but Urkas can't win that final aim duel, and Mizu will win another round for Avant. Greyhound, it just does not seem to be working here on Dust2.
No, but they're starting to build up that loss bonus, and in particular, getting the bomb plant down. It's definitely going to help their money a lot. They should be able to buy up into this one if that is what they wish to do. Although we did see them take the save in a similar money scenario, or at least just the half buy, and that's what they're going to do again. They're just going to half buy, preferring to have that AWP on Sicko and a bunch of utility. Not to mention the fact that they do have a pretty decent shot at winning a lot of these rounds, particularly against a double AWP setup. Oh no, it's already the single. Sorry, they haven't gone back into the double AWP on the side of Avant. They're only going to retain that singular. It looks like Greyhound are going to be setting up for what looks like another potential mid to B, or at least a contact into the B apartments off the into that B tunnels off the back of maybe a progression smoke thrown out. Looks like Dexter's going to be throwing that one out any second. Raz does have a Molotov to be able to drop into the tunnels if he times it correctly, which could definitely shut this one down for Greyhound.
We're going to be seeing a lot of that utility coming out here. So Soju, well aware of what is going to go on. Just spamming away a little bit. Throws his own smoke down. Not going to be too much of a problem for Greyhound that, but the sprays certainly are. Through the smoke, Soju gets 2. Doesn't even know that they're there, but doesn't really matter. And Greyhound immediately, again, start off the round with severe lack of players. Just seems like, I don't know, it's, I don't want to say like clueless for Greyhound. I think that's too harsh of a word. But it doesn't feel like Greyhound has got much of an idea right now of what they need to be doing, or whatever the case is. Avant is reading it.
So Avant still with very, very solid money. 2.5k across the board for most of their players. Greyhound, after taking that half buy, will be able to buy up into this one. APAC looked like, oh, it was actually Raz, looked like he wanted to go for a quick one. Re-peek into middle. And Greyhound's going to lose the player in long after that pressure comes out, but Urkast has been given a lot of space up catwalk here.
And he needs to do something with it as well, doesn't he? Because this is looking so dire for Greyhound, but APAC just smashes Urkast. And again, and again, and again. Player disadvantage to start the round off. And then Greyhound not being able to pull it back. Dexter needs to have some sort of heroic performance here. Has already dealt with Mizu. APAC backs away. Dexter has another chance to find another pick, which he so desperately needs. Elusive somehow gets Malta there.
Really feels like Avant with the economy advantage that they've been able to find.
Whoa.
And with how sharp some of their players are looking at the moment, I'm making the best of it. Dexter is not someone you'd be wanting to give an opportunity in this 1v3 though. Yeah, but I think he will be shut down by APAC coming in from long.
He will be indeed. Nonetheless, Greyhound still not looking much better. In fact, like it slowly is starting to look worse for Greyhound and far better for Avant. Like these rounds, they're not even looking that close anymore.
Yeah, but Avant, they have got the economy control and they have got the 9-3 lead, right? So that's great. However, you wouldn't want to, at this point, be giving Greyhound any rounds whatsoever. You want to make this as clean as possible, especially them heading into the CT side of their map pick.
Yeah.
And with their loss bonus built up at the moment, the fact they continue to get the bomb down, they're going to be able to buy all 3 of these rounds.
I suppose if you look at this in the context of Greyhound being able to still make it to a 9-6, if you get that 9-6, like
and then
that's
the pistol, they can still close out this game.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
They need to ride this momentum into a 12-3 half or at least an 11-4.
Most definitely. Make sure that hard work pays off, because that has been the problem for Avant, hasn't it, right? They've started maps off really well.
That's right.
Or they've been able to finish maps really well, but they haven't given themselves enough room on the other side.
A nice timing hit by Avant again. Man advantage for them. And Greyhound, they're going to try to consolidate this one by heading up catwalk with multiple players. And Avant, I'd imagine, will just play full retake on that A-bomb site. I'd like to see Urkast really stop them from trying to head out into middle. But it is just going to be a group up and an execute from catwalk here for Greyhound. And Mizu's actually going to commit up onto this bomb site and try to pick off some of these players before they make their way over here.
Fairly smart move, I feel, but getting flashed out of position. Dick Stacey, a couple of team flashes hitting him there. Does stop his progression on forward, but he will get APAC. Doesn't matter though, because Mizu is locking things down from ramp. 10-3 now for Avant. Everything that Greyhound throws at Avant is not sticking to the wall.
Not at all. So Greyhound going to go for that half buy again with that 3.7k money situation. They want to be able to buy decently into the next one. Nice shot from Sicko, but does get traded straight back. And APAC straight through the flash onto Malta.
Yeah, well, I mean, when Greyhound's going to group up like that.
They have B, but they have no bomb. The bomb's still in T-spawn, Jordan.
Well, if the push continues to come here from Avant, maybe.
Oh, no.
This is the round that Avant just lets it slip a little bit in this first half. It's almost a must-win, though, for Greyhound. Like, they need to close this one out. Mizu, if he goes down here, that's so bad, so dangerous. And now a 1v3 for Raz. It feels impossible. Particularly because Urcast and Dexter, well, and actually Dick Stacey now have also all got guns. Plenty of time to work with here for Greyhound as well. They don't need to be doing anything silly. Just have to ensure that they close the round out.
100%. But you have to say, a bit of a missed opportunity for Avant. Oh, okay, Raz.
Yeah, but still 2 players to find. Good setup for Greyhound right now. Flashbang does go into the site. Raz has no HP here to play with. Hits a nice shot onto Urcast. And on the smoke now, Dick Stacey surely wins this for Greyhound and does. But a little too close for comfort, it feels like, for Greyhound there.
100%. Really good buy into the last round of the half for Avant. They have been so good keeping their economy under control throughout this entire CT side, which is a big win condition for the T side often on Dust2. Resetting the CT's economy can give you so many rounds on the board, and Greyhound have just never been able to do it. Now, long control going to be coming in. Avant will fight back for it. And they just take the shot. And no, they're not going to fight. They're actually going to fall back, but the miss smoke actually should have helped Greyhound there. It's a 1-for-1, and they do have this long control.
They've also done a lot of damage.
But look where APAC is. He's in the perfect position in lowers with that AWP to be able to punish Dick Stacey if he does pick top mid here.
Well, it certainly seems like Dick Stacey wants to. Urcast is going to go down to Raz as well. Elusive spanning away through the smoke. Big kill out from Dexter to equalize. But are they aware that Soju is still hanging around in this smoke? The timing could be so bad for Greyhound here if the bomb does get dropped. But it looks like Sicko will get across. And in fact, Dexter's found the angle onto Soju. And now it falls onto APAC. Surely not a jumping AWP shot here to deny the bomb plan. And it won't be, as Dexter has one of those heroic rounds. 3 kills for him. 10-5 at the end of the half, Pilly. Is that enough?
I guess we're going to find out. I mean, I feel like that could have been a lot more one-sided for Avant. If they had closed out the 12-3, it would be a lot easier for them to get it done. But they've given Greyhound a little bit more room to work with than they might have wanted to.
Oh, well, is it going to be enough for Greyhound? Is it going to be enough for Avant? Those are the questions that we'll answer after the break. Well, it's the first time in the ESL Pro League this season that we've actually come into the second half with Greyhound having a deficit. 5-10 in the first, going the way of Avant, naturally, as you would expect on Dust2, right? Absolutely not. Super surprising stuff, Philly. But is it enough, though? You know, we were sort of saying 11-4, 12-3, that might be enough to give us faith in Avant. But 10-5 still kind of leaves the door a little bit ajar here for Greyhound.
It does indeed, and Dust2 is a map that Avant, they might have played it a couple of times, but not a huge amount of reps compared to, you know, it being a mainstay in the map pool here for a team like Greyhound. So heading into the T side of Avant, they're going to have to be making sure that they're making all the correct plays and that they're keeping their T side nice and tight and solid, because like you said, 10-5 might not be the overwhelming scoreline that we expected to come out of that last half when you consider the factors like the economy going in the favour of Avant, not to mention how well some of these lads are playing individually right now.
Yeah, fantastic shots being hit, but I mean, particularly from Elusive. Again, I think Mizu's having a much better day today as well. So it all seems to be kind of working together right now for Avant. The pieces of the puzzle are falling into place. And yeah, certainly seeing some performances from Greyhound that are leaving a little bit to be desired.
All right, so smoke onto Xbox for Avant. But looks like Greyhound don't want to give up this mid-control, but unfortunately Urcast can't get anything done, gets absolutely deleted, and Dexter as well trying to go aggressive into middle, and Avant's going to pounce.
It's a pretty critical kill actually there for Malta to try and relieve some pressure. Now needs to deal with the player in upper dark and lands the shot finally. Finally, the tables turn back in the favour of Greyhound, as Sicko also able to get a frag in the meanwhile. Dick Stacey here on A has been pretty solid actually throughout this season of Pro League. Won't actually be able to get the pick on the cross, but backs away, at least is going to be able to play out that 3v2 here for Greyhound. But if they don't win this pistol, Avant is really going to steam away with the second half, and Elusive is going to have to be the player to do it here for his side, now in the 1v2. As a 1-for-1 did occur just earlier, straight away though. Sicko with the headshot. And I think Greyhound here will be breathing a bit of a sigh of relief.
For sure, that should have been the pistol straight from Avant. They were in a 5-on-3 situation, but instead of putting the brakes on and slowing things down, they speed things up, and that gives Greyhound a little bit more room than they might have had to work with otherwise to be able to find some key kills in the mid-round and actually win that round.
Well,
so, Avant's going to buy.
Yeah, I mean, now the second half really kind of gets interesting, doesn't it?
Yep, 100%. But here's the thing, though. Because of how many kills went the way of Avant, because of the fact that they got that bomb plant down, they have been able to get a really good buy on the board. Raz and Soju would be the weak parts with the Deagle and no armor. But talk about weak parts, the Deagles have been going the way of Avant all night and also yesterday against Chiefs. I mean, looking really strong with them.
You've still got 3 AKs there as well for Avant.
And armor and plenty of utility, and you've got a fair bit of catwalk control. Like, this is a recipe for success for Avant, for sure.
I will be interested to see what Urcast is going to do here, though. Does he continue to push through bedroom, try to find more information? If he does, what's the timing like in that respect? Like, if he pushes right now, gets behind all these Avant players, that's fantastic, but he may well run into someone watching the back. This is starting to get a little bit precarious for Greyhound, though, as Avant is really making some inroads. Positioning is definitely in their favor, but Dexter, he's going to get 2. Malta's fallen, but there is still damage yet to be done here for Greyhound, particularly from Urcast. If he gets the timing right, APAC almost gets the spray across. But this is winnable for Avant, 2v2. Bomb plan is down. Time is of the essence now for Greyhound as they have to make their way up to the site. And Sicko dealing with only an SMG. Urcast low on HP. They almost line up again for Elusive into the 1v1. Luckily for Sicko, he only has to land a tiny bit of damage and will finish it off. But again, another round that's too close for comfort for Greyhound.
Another round that was winnable for Avant that they couldn't take advantage of. So now, bomb plant going down puts Avant in a situation where I would just love to see them force again. Even if they're going down to those Galils and armor, you know, APOCs and Elusive can get AK and armor. But they're not going to do it. I would like to see them keep the pressure on the economy of Greyhound because there we go. They do actually. I thought Raz was just going to go for Deagle, no armor, but all of them do buy across the board. One player being alive, they don't want to let Greyhound get any kind of a foot into this game. But unfortunately, one big factor that's going to go the way of Greyhound is the fact that the AWP is over here on Sicko. And there's not enough utility to be able to push him off all these angles for Avant, but he doesn't make a shot in middle there. So that could be potentially a big bullet dodge there for Avant as they go take this catwalk control. Urcast is on the site. Dick Stacey closest to long with the MP9. He's not going to be able to do anything with that.
Urcast is going to get a nice grenade in there, though. That'll soften Raz up, and if Urcast can even get one, that might have been the round one. However, Urcast and Dexter do fall with not really much going their way. So now player advantage for Avant. They will be able to get the bomb down by the looks of things. Sicko trying to deny it with a jumping AWP shot, but that is wishful thinking. And Dick Stacey will fall to the AK of Mizu. And now it looks like safe territory for Greyhound. This is a disaster for the CT side.
And it's a great decision for Avant to be able to go for that force when the last round got so close. Really worked out beautifully for them. Avant's been making all the right moves to be able to make sure that this half is definitely winnable for them. And this is going to be putting them in a fantastic position. 11-7, they're going to put Greyhound in a position where they probably have to save next, but as long as they hold on to this AK and the AWP, and it's very winnable. I don't like how many guns Avant are losing there. Now Greyhound, they could buy up into this one. They could reset Avant. They only kept one gun alive at the end of that last round.
It's a ballsy move, though, for Greyhound, really. When you look at the situation that they are in, if they lose this round after having bought, like, it still puts more and more pressure onto Greyhound.
But equally Avant.
Certainly,
From the 4 guns that they had, man, like, they should not have chased that at all. They were trying to put the nail into the coffin, and they're going to go for a lot of players in towards these B tunnels. Dexter in lower.
He has found that 1v1, but can't win it. The weaponry just not there for him, unfortunately.
But look at the positioning of all these Greyhound players. They're not interested in this long control. They're all centralized around mid and catwalk, the one player towards upper. So if they're able to win a couple of these duels and they can take advantage of these short rotation times, then that could have been it. But they will fall back a little bit more. Sicko's going to go back in towards CT spawn. And the smokes come out for Avant. They are going to go for this mid to B, and Malta's given up the B bomb site.
Might be able to find something in the middle. Oh, he just takes his aim off of Mizu. And Sicko's going to have to try and salvage it here for Greyhound. I don't know. Surely you can't 3v4 retake this bomb site as Greyhound. With the utility that they've got, they have to give this up.
I like that decision to go for the save.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of those moments there, though, for Malta, where it's like, you literally could have won the round.
Yep.
If you had, like, just a slightly better timing or...
I think he's just been having a bit of a rough game in this game, to be honest.
Yeah.
As can be the case.
It's just one of those things, right? It either works or it doesn't.
Yep.
And sometimes it's not even really necessarily
I think
on
it was,
the player.
I think it was the correct decision to just go back towards
well.
middle and try to deal with that one arm and the mid to B push and then try to retake the B bomb side with the man advantage. But
yeah, I mean, you look at the best case scenario there for Greyhound as being Malta gets the first, Sicko comes out from the smoke and gets the second.
And then they're in a 4v3, the bomb's just going down on B and they could have got it done.
But it's gone the way of Avant, as has a lot here on Dust2.
Absolutely. But Greyhound, another winnable round for them. If they take advantage of these AKs and the AWPs that they do have, then they could definitely find an avenue to be able to win this round. And Sicko being boosted up the catwalk could definitely get it done. But Avant are just going to go towards that long area and maybe potentially throw a bit of an execute from this part of the map.
Well, what can these 3 players for Greyhound with weaponry actually do? You want to see something big out from Sicko. Dick Stacey actually pushing up through short. Not really seeing a whole lot from him just now. But Sicko does have a nice line with the AWP.
100%. He hits 1 or 2 shots before they're able to come up onto this bomb side on the side of Avant. That could be the end of the round. But over on the side of Avant, they haven't thrown the smokes from back in long. They're instead just going to run up this left side.
Oh, well, that's the first shot missed for Sicko, and that's going to allow progression here for the T side. In fact, Sicko will fall as well, and Urcast is in no man's land. This is not looking good at all for Greyhound. Dick Stacey is good for 1, but 1 is not enough. And that's 1 more round for Avant.
So Greyhound now won't have the money to be able to go for the AWP on Sicko, but they will buy up into this round in particular, which is for the 5 rifles. Avant in a fantastic position if they do close out this round to just be able to win the game. And it is going to be 4 towards that B side of the map. Soju just throwing some flashes over long, putting some pressure in that part of the map. And you could see Greyhound, they wanted to try to hard counter this long aggression.
Yeah.
But it hasn't come out from Avant, so they're going to need to get a bit of a wriggle on and try to make their way back into the correct positions. Dexter does punish Mizu for peeking out mid there, and it's going to be all on Malta in the B bomb site.
He is going to have an absolute mammoth play. In fact, maybe it'll be Dexter to salvage it for Greyhound. Pushing through the smoke, balls of steel, and Malta does get the one player on B that was causing him problems. Well, I guess really through middle, but regardless, it's the kills that Greyhound needed. They have got control of the bomb. So, crisis averted, at least for this round, one would assume. The round's not over just yet. APAC and Soju may yet have another tale to tell us. History is written by the winners, as they say. APAC with 2. Can't get 2 more.
But even just those two put so much more pressure on Greyhound's economy in a position, again, where Avant, they can buy up perfectly fine into this round. They can drop a gun over towards Soju. And if Greyhound do lose this round, then their economy's reset, and that's Avant putting themselves in a position where they can get match point and they can potentially win the game. So every single one of these rounds are important for Greyhound to be able to win and win cleanly. And look at Avant. 5 people running straight down suicide. Flash is going to be pushing Dexter off the line. He has seen some of these players go in, but look at the setup on that A bomb site for Greyhound.
What can Sicko do here with the AK? Needs a few, and he'll get 1. A lot of damage, though, to be fair. Should make the job easy for Urcast, who has actually been struggling a little bit in this map, I feel. But Dick Stacey is there, and that will be enough for Greyhound to hold strong on A. Again, it's a really critical kill for Dexter to get as that player runs up short. Like, these rounds seem to be able to turn on a dime. And if Greyhound's not going to find that one really critical opening kill or the damage that they need, Avant is just going to run over them.
And here's the difference, though. Greyhound, critical round last round to me, making sure that they get, but they didn't close it out cleanly. This time they do. 4 people alive for them and have reset the economy of Avant, which give them even more room to be able to build up this money on the CT side and get Sicko that AWP finally and be able to lean on some of the strengths that they're used to using to be able to close out these games on Dust2 here, Jordan.
Yeah, I mean, it also gives Greyhound a bit of breathing room, right? You felt the pressure kind of building and building and building. And this sort of just releases a bit of that steam.
Not to mention the fact that Avant, although they are able to run that long control, they're looking a little bit sort of one-dimensional on this T side so far. They really are sort of death squatting around the map. It isn't that structured map control that we see from these teams that are a bit more familiar with Dust2. It very much is them trying to force the mid to Bs and the B bomb side executes and force that long control into some sort of a round win off the back of that.
Once again, they'll make their way toward A. A very nice crossfire setup here for Urcast. And these should be some really nice confidence-settling frags there for him. It's going to allow the bomb to go down. No Soju gets off it. Will be finished off. I think that's pretty critical as well for Urcast to just find those 3 pretty clean kills as the players with the pistols run at him. Because like he has been missing a few of those spray downs on A that you would expect normally he would be hitting. And if he can sort of become a real stalwart on the bomb site there, then that means A's not really much more of an option.
Yep, so we will see what their approach is going to be in this round in particular. Like I said, they've been playing a bit more on the death squatty kind of side of things. This time they are actually just going to slow things down and spread out around the map. See if they do go for that catwalk control. 2 players towards lower, 1 towards top mid to be able to set them up. Nice little boost to make sure no one is peeking into towards that short area. Over on the side of Greyhound, now that they've taken that long control, Sicko's just going to be able to jump up on those Gandalf boxes to try to pick somebody's little head coming into short there. But he won't go towards that Guardian area. Flash out into mid is going to put a little bit of pressure on Avant and find out that there's no one from Greyhound that is actually close middle that could flank them or get a bit of information. That it is just a more sort of standard setup, not a 2-1-2, but actually a 3-2s. And there, that's a nice flash to push Sicko off the angle. So this is good stuff from Avant. They push them off catwalk and they keep the rotations nice and honest, and then they go straight into a mid to B. Well,
this is where the fragging potential may actually make some inroads into the bomb site. Dexter under pressure, Malta as well, and both will go down. Not a single frag for any of the A players either. In the meanwhile, no one was able to push through the smoke for the mid to B. So Greyhound should be losing this round. Stacey's going to find a free one onto Mizu though. Maybe that'll bolster their chances. There is still a lot of time to work with here. Defuse kits across the board for Greyhound. Flashbang is good onto Elusive. But even still a 3v3 retake is definitely not a percentage play on Dust2. So Greyhound will cut their losses.
And what a round and what a call that was from Avant. They've really shown a lot of depth on this T side of Dust2 so far. They've been hitting that mid to B nice and fast. They've been getting that long control, and I was sort of questioning, can these guys actually run a bit more of a default sort of round and put pressure on the rotations of Greyhound and take that map control? That's exactly what they do, and they don't hesitate after that. As soon as they do, keep those rotations nice and honest from Greyhound by flashing out and checking that close mid doors area, by pushing Sicko off of Catwalk, they immediately go straight into that mid to B. And it works beautifully for them. A 2-for-1, and then they get the bomb down straight away while they've made sure that all three of these other players from Greyhound are over towards that A side of the map by applying pressure to Catwalk and checking close mid. It's excellent stuff from Avant.
It is. Is it enough?
It's
looking like it is.
I think it is, yeah.
But who knows whether or not Greyhound can sort of just kick it into another gear.
They do have a very good buy and the double orb setup here.
Well, we were questioning, been a while since we saw the double orb from Greyhound, and it's actually not going to be Malta. It will be Dexter that takes the second orb. He's generally sort of the mid-floater, with Malta being the dedicated B anchor.
But look at this from Avant. Straight in towards what looks to be another mid to B, which has been working so great for them time and time again. But Dexter, if he does set himself up in a pretty disruptive position, actually picks off some of these Avant players before they come in for that kind of play.
There's a bit more presence as well in CT this time from Greyhound than there was in the last.
Yep. And they don't push Sicko off the angle. He might find a timing to actually find a pick here, but again, they dodged the bullet.
Well, just a bit of damage onto Mizu.
Yeah.
But not a big problem for Avant.
But that's been the big thing for Greyhound. They haven't been able to find these opportunities to actually pick these Avant players off before they go for this mid to B split.
Yeah. Sicko does seem to have a bit of a read onto Raz. Well, you were talking about picks. There's one for Dexter. Can he reset himself on the point? Well, regardless, it's Urcast. Like I said, being able to have the impact from middle relieves a lot of pressure on the B players. That said, it is still a bit of a pressure cooker over on that side of the map. Dexter with the leg shot onto Elusive, and Malta has cleaned up too. So this should be too much for Elusive to handle in a 1v3. Maybe he can get Dexter, maybe not. Sicko will help him out. 11 up for Greyhound. 3 rounds the deficit.
And there you go. That's exactly what it was, really, Jordan. That Avant, again, dodge a couple of bullets by when they're coming up Catwalk and taking a bit of control and just putting a bit of pressure on these CT defenders, pushing them off those advanced positions that you often do see the CTs sort of set themselves up in on Dust2 in particular. But this time around, the difference maker really is Dexter and Urcast finding those kills before the mid to B split sort of meets up and crunches onto that B bomb site for Avant.
Yeah, but they haven't consistently been able to do that.
Yeah, it's only been in that last round. But then again, it's only in that last round they had the double orb setup.
And it sort of feels as though Avant can continue to try and run that strategy, and sooner or later they probably make it work. And they only really need to make it work once at least to push us through to the overtime.
But by the same token, Greyhound hasn't been overcommitting to holding that strategy in particular. They still are playing a fairly standard sort of run of things at the CT side. The only real difference that there has been the fact that Dexter's taken the orb towards that upper tunnel, and Urcast is playing a little bit more close towards that CT area.
Just plucked him out of the sky. It's a good shot for Sicko, but still Avant making their way onto the bomb site. Urcast is going to clean up a couple here. Sicko will drop. The bomb does go down for Avant, but again, it's just another round on the board for Greyhound, which will bring things closer and closer. So now 2 the difference. Bomb plant is good for Avant though. But we're starting to see Greyhound really close the gap.
And
so we theorize this might be enough for Avant, but are you willing to reconsider, Pilly? Are you starting to feel like you need to change your tune here?
Oh yeah, I need to see Greyhound win another gun round first.
All right.
Then I can start to think about that. Because the problem is that Greyhound, they have to work for every single one of these rounds because Avant, they've given themselves so much of an advantage that every single round that Greyhound wins gives Avant a hell of a lot of money because they just have so much loss bonus here. So again, 4 towards the tunnels would probably indicate that this is going to be a mid to B again.
But Urcast is actually out mid, not in the CT spawn right now. Got the incendiary down, so that'll slow the progress of Avant. I feel as though Greyhound is maybe expecting
it. Well.
They're 2 on to be? Or just the one?
One on B, but they did boost up Urcast there in the CT spawn.
Well, Okas is going to really need to help out Dexter here.
Dexter's just going to let them have B, I think. I don't think he can really fight that with the progression smoke coming in towards tunnel. And that is exactly what it's going to be.
Oh, good flashbangs as well to keep Dexter off the line. If he gets this pick into mid, makes the retake doable. But Dexter needs to ensure that he does not get traded out here. Backing his teammates. Oh. Great shot from Dexter. The headshot through the box. It'll be enough to dispatch of Soju. But the bomb is now down for Avant, and APAC will pick Dexter. So that player advantage slowly starting to be relinquished. But Malta will stabilize again for Greyhound. Not to say that this round is well and truly over just yet. Even a 4v2 is losable here for Greyhound, especially if APAC pushing this smoke can have a big impact, which he can't. And Greyhound, now that's the gun round, Pilly, that you were talking about.
If that was any other player, by the way, left in that 1-on-4, there's no way Dick Stacey just stays on the other side of that smoke, I reckon. Trust APAC to be walking straight through the doors and trying to make his way into some kind of a sneaky position.
Well, has that given you the faith now for Greyhound?
I think so. However, you know, Avant's looking pretty set on time and time again going back towards this mid to B, which has finally Greyhound have found an answer for. But this time, Avant's going to go for this long control. Greyhound are setting up very well to be able to deal with it. And there's the opening pick. And every single time Greyhound finds these opening kills earlier on in the round before Avant's able to actually execute their strategy, Greyhound's coming away with these rounds.
Yeah, I mean, Sicko really starting to hit his stride now with the AWP. He's hitting some great shots. And that is being a big problem for Avant.
And Avant, they look a little bit confused as what they want to do in the rest of this round. Greyhound's read the rotations perfectly. They're just going to leave Malta retake on that B bomb site in the mid-round. Urcast just spotting out anyone coming towards this catwalk area. They're well aware that Avant are in long, but Avant's going to give up that long control and try to go towards middle or catwalk in the mid-round. Dick Stacey and Urcast making their way into an aggressive sort of positioning on that catwalk area. And again, it looks like Avant are going to try and consolidate this round towards mid to B. But earlier in the round, Greyhound, they were stacked towards A, but you can see the rotations come across. Dexter's made his way back towards the B bomb site.
Yeah, Greyhound certainly getting a bit of a read onto Avant at the moment. This grenade going to go straight into the B tunnels. Pretty well timed. I mean, I guess you'd be disappointed with the damage that it did end up doing, but it gives you the idea that, of course, Avant, their position is well and truly known. Malta with 3 on the spray down. It leaves Mizu alone. It's not really too problematic here for Greyhound, but they cannot count their chickens before they hatch, and they're giving 1v1s to Mizu. This is now entirely winnable for him. Greyhound, surely this is not the round to lose.
Sicko picks himself up the AK. Mizu, he's got the smoke on doors, and he drops the Molotov into the windows so he can cut down the amount of angles that Sicko can work with. The problem is that Sicko has to check pretty much everything. That smoke means that Mizu could have made it across towards car. Great molly out.
What? That is an ace clutch for Mizu.
Absolutely massive from the man. The problem is that with no one surviving for Avant, no one has money to buy except for Mizu, man. And Greyhound, being able to keep a lot of those guns up, they're going to have a better buy than Avant will into this next round.
Yeah, but Avant just needs 1 round to close the map out. It's still hanging in the balance here for Greyhound. They really should not have given that opportunity over to Mizu. That is a round that they'll kick themselves for. But still.
Huge play from Mizu, you have to say, though. Yesterday against Chiefs, he was a little bit quiet.
Yes, definitely. But making amends for it today.
100%. Really sticking it to the best team in the region. There you go, flash out mid for Avant. He's going to probably get Urcast to rotate back in towards that CT spawn now.
Ooh. Nice shoulder peek. Sicko, though, won't miss the second shot. That's an important frag for Greyhound just to settle the nerves, if there were any. Now you've got the 4v5. Play this one out correctly, and it should go your way.
Not much utility in the late round here for Avant, though, unfortunately. Raz has made his way out middle, and he's trying to find Urcast in that CT spawn, but Urcast did never drop down. And the smoke on the mid to B might force something out of Greyhound, but it looks like for the most part they're pretty comfortable with just playing the setup that they're in.
Oh, Dick Stacey's done a bit of damage there to Elusive. Needs to do some more, and certainly will. Almost a 3-man. And it'll be APAC to shut down his reign of terror. Nonetheless, 4v2, it's going to be enough for Greyhound to feel like they should win the round here, but stranger things have happened. APAC, I mean, look at Avant's money. It's not that great without a bomb plant here. I mean, I'm not sure exactly how much they're going to get.
They'll probably get like 2.5 to 3K, I think.
Yeah. So that's not really enough to fill you with a whole lot of confidence. Would have been really nice to take that AWP through.
But by the same token as well, against a double AWP setup with pistol armor, the danger is still there for Avant.
Yeah.
One misplaced grenade from Greyhound could be the end of the game. And Avant is going to be running straight back towards that B area. Probably the progression smoke coming out from them.
What a way to lose the map it would be if Avant just rushes B here with the pistols. Malta with a close angle. He's going to get the smoke down, but the flashbangs are through. Oh. Well, that'll do it. Surely overtime now. Malta, perfect timing. The 3K through the smoke, and he survives. APAC and Elusive. They're still going to have a crack at this one, though. I don't think there's too much to write home about here. So next up, we'll get rid of APAC. And one more to find for Greyhound. It's been a really nice comeback from Greyhound, all things considered.
Yeah, but it was so balanced on a knife's edge, it kind of felt like at some point, all it would have taken is one small mistake.
Well, there was one small mistake. Actually, in fact, one big mistake, I will say, on that B-bomb site that has probably cost Greyhound the map win in regulation time.
Yeah. But you can't ever count them out to be able to come back straight into this one, in OT particularly.
Well, so I think now that we are going to OT, I guess, unless Elusive does something incredible, I would back Greyhound to finish that off.
I probably would as well. Although Avant does look pretty good at converting some of these rounds in mid to B, it really feels like Greyhound's now very much adapted to their style on the T side and has sort of found the, how do I say it? Found the answer for it in terms of trying to get those earlier round picks. It felt like a lot of the time Avant was sort of, they got away with a really weird sort of money situation a lot of the time in both halves, it felt like, as well as the fact that it didn't really feel like Greyhound was heavily picking them in the earlier parts of the round, but now in towards the later part of this CT half, they're consistently finding those picks on these Avant players before they're actually able to execute their strategy. Whether they go towards long or whether they're coming up catwalk.
Yeah, well, I think that's the issue for Avant. Like, they're going to obviously start this overtime half on the T side, and it does seem like it's kind of run dry a little bit in a way. You know, you may refresh things if you start on the CT side here as Avant, and it sort of just throws that momentum out of whack a little bit. But I think with this momentum that Greyhound actually does have, the way that they're reading what Avant is trying to do on this T side, it seems unlikely that Avant's going to get a huge amount done actually on the T side in this OT setup. I mean,
I wouldn't count them out 100% though, because they have shown us enough depth on the T side to get 1 to 2 rounds if they do find the right opportunities.
But what's the pass score here for Avant? Is it just the 1 round on T side? Because that seems like, obviously,
I don't think we'll see Greyhound have a really poor T side like we did in regulation. And
so
I don't think
looking for two.
They're always going to have the money this time around rather than that weird reset situation that they found themselves in. I do think that Avant needs 2 on this T side probably.
All right. Well, we shall find out what they are going to be able to give to us.
That's who they're winning rounds for, really. It's you, Jordan.
Is it?
I think so. Wow, they commit through that long smoke with Dick Stacey. I don't think he's going to be ready for the trade, and that's a good situation for Avant to find themselves in. But Raz, a bit of an overcommitment there.
Especially with the bomb as well. Flashbang's coming through. Siko's got too many angles to watch. And now...
That's something different from Avant.
Yeah, has definitely caused a problem for Greyhound.
What a fast split on that A-bomb side. That completely caught Greyhound with their pants down.
Mizu just taking a little while to get the bomb. I think that's kind of caused a bit of a weird sort of timing situation there for Avant that does allow that frag to actually occur.
APAC's just pieced it.
Oh, where's he going? Short. Must be. Mizu's in a great spot here, though, to get rid of Dexter.
Bomb's not planted for short.
Yeah.
Luckily, Mizu gets both of those frags, though.
Well, it's a good start for Avant.
100%. And again, they showed us something that they didn't show us in regulation, and that's completely what caught Greyhound off guard.
Yeah.
So you really can't be counting them out of this game. And now, with that round win, they're going to invest in multiple AWPs to try to get a gap on the cross. because they can't afford it. Which is why 16K is such a stupid format, but anyway.
I remember when everyone wanted the 16K, when we used to run 10K.
Asking the wrong people.
Well.
Alright, so Avant looking like they want to try to go for this potential contact into the B bomb site.
Nice
Good
flash.
flashes.
Malta under pressure here. He's going to get the smoke down, which will give him a little bit of room to work with, but he has lost Dexter, and now it really is going to be Malta that needs to step up, and that's exactly what he's doing. 2 frags down, still dancing around on Plat, and he'll get another one. It's APAC that falls this time. Malta, what a monstrous round, has bought the time for Greyhound to rotate across, but it's Mizu in the 1v2. We've already seen him win the 1v3 that put us really into overtime. Can he do it again for Avant here? He's got a lot of time.
Nick Stacey sneaking in behind him.
All about the timing here for Mizu. If he turns around, if Sicko continues this push through window, or if Dick Stacey gets there in time, and it will be Dick Stacey just getting there in time. Nice guys finish last, Pilly. 16-16.
Came in from behind.
Yep.
At the perfect time. All right. It's a 1-1. See if Avant do get themselves that 2-1 scoreline that we reckon that they need. And again, it was a different look from Avant. Just the contact into the B site. They're continually changing up things. And if this is the B, mid to B early on here, I mean, they're going fast for this catwalk control this time around. So potentially that could be something that they go to. I would love to see them just explode out catwalk here with multiple riflers. Does seem like Greyhound are ready for that though. Urkas is on the side here, drops the nade as well.
Big grenade. A lot of damage onto Elusive. Mizu drops down as well, makes a lot of noise. That's an easy pick for Sicko. Not the second, however, but Urkas is doing the job that needs to be done for Greyhound. 3 kills go to him and 2 to Sicko, and that'll be 2-1 favouring Greyhound in the first half of OT.
Yep. Now Avant heading into this C-tick side and Greyhound onto the T side. And here's the big danger for Avant in particular is that it felt like Greyhound was not playing their normal T side in regulation, which means that Avant, they don't really have a lot to sort of read off of. And they were getting a lot of economic advantages and they were winning a lot of rounds that looked a little bit unconventional where Greyhound were looking a little bit flat in the earlier parts. But now that Greyhound has sort of warmed up a little bit into overtime, I'd imagine they're going to be straight back to business as usual on the T side, which Avant, they don't really have any sort of data on what that looks like.
Lots of questions, Billy. I don't have the answers for you, but perhaps we will have an answer in 5 to 10 minutes time. Otherwise, OT number 2 may be a calling.
Double ball. First round in for Greyhound. The classic 16K meme.
Hasn't really resulted in much.
Sicko's going for this long peek.
All right. Dexter's been tagged a little bit. APAC deciding not to take the peek through mid doors just yet. How long does Malta hold this angle? And there we go. He's grabbed the AK.
The Greyhound now. Bit of utility pressure into middle. They were quite passive in the earlier parts of the round on their T side last time, and it will be no different this time around. But APAC was so good at finding these picks in the mid-round, and ooh, you could have sworn that would have connected on Urkas there.
Yeah, almost indeed. Soju spots info, does a tiny bit of damage, but realistically not a big problem for Greyhound. They'll work their way up into short. But look at this rotation already starting to occur for Avant. Incendiary down, buys them some more time. They're putting everything into this one, Pili. This is their Pro League chances on the line, right? You lose here as Avant, you lose this map.
It's over.
They're 0-2, they're done.
Yep. Exactly right. It's good to see them play with this much heart. Here comes the catwalk execute for Greyhound.
Oh, how has APAC managed to hit that? Can he get another one through the smoke? Dick Stacey is lurking. Dexter's doing some work, and Sicko, he's going to help out. Great shot from Sicko. That has saved the round almost. But it's a 2v3, still winnable here for Avant. The grenade through. Is it going to do enough damage? It will. But it's into a 2v1, and well, no longer. Greyhound now, match point available for them. 1 round away from basically securing themselves in the top 2 of this group.
Exactly right. And that's something that Avant really never had to deal with, unfortunately, on their CT side. They never really saw that come out for Greyhound. Then Greyhound never really had the money to be able to run around like that. Obviously, whenever they tried to get the catwalk control, most of the time they're getting picked apart in middle. Greyhound never had such a clean round where they're able to keep 4 or 5 players alive in towards that catwalk area and actually run their strat. So Avant, they have no real idea on how to defend that as cleanly. Obviously, they put themselves in a pretty good scenario to be able to do so, but unfortunately, they just can't get it done. So now, again, no early damage or pick for Avant. Greyhound, they're coming towards this catwalk control again, and it's almost like they're just closing in on that map win. That's what it feels like, Jordan.
Yep, certainly does. It's been a long time coming for Greyhound here on Dust2. Definitely not the story that we predicted, and there has to be credit going to Avant for that, but it just seems like once again, it's going to be that sense of deja vu that Avant would have wanted to avoid.
Oh. Sicko just gets off the line at the wrong time, but unfortunately missed opportunity for APAC there. Could have definitely come and gotten a pick onto these Ts before they go for this A split. 2-man setup in towards long. It's a crossfire between Mizu and Elusive.
APAC, it's a lot of utility heading in his direction. No real problems for him just yet. Mizu will fall. Elusive does at least get Malta. APAC takes the challenge against Sicko and he wins it. But Dix2 so sharp will shut him down. Dexter with the bomb needs to get a wriggle on here. Dix2 this time can't manage the heroics on the A site that he did last time, but Dexter with an incredible spray transfer puts it into a 1v1 and he's going to win it for Greyhound. How on earth has Dexter done that?